isang dating batikang senador ng Republika ng Pilipinas at Department of Justice Secretary Sen.Drilon ay nagsalita na kaugnay nga po dito sa naging kontrobersyal na kaso at pagturo bilang mastermind sa pagpatay kay First Lapid itong si Gen.Bantag. Alright, magandang umaga, tanghali, gabi po sa inyo lahat. Kamusta po kayo lahat? At nandito na naman po tayo para sa panibagong update. Sa hindi pa nakalike ng video na to, palike naman yung ating video. At sa hindi pa nakasubscribe, huwag kalimutan i-subscribe ang ating channel. So, thank you so much. Thank you very much. Alright, simulan na po natin. Ano nga ba yung ating papanoorin, alright, sa interview na ito ni dating Senator Sen.Drilon dito sa CNN Philippines? Ang magiging interview niya po dito, mga idol, ay kaugnay nga po sa sabina at kaso na isinampa kay Gen.Bantag. Ano po ba yung dapat at hindi dapat gawin ni Gen.Bantag?
Senator, must he appear personally or can this be done through his lawyer? The hearings are supposed to be set on November 23 and December 5.
Bantag must appear before the prosecutor because the counter affidavit, if he chooses to file one, must be sworn to before the prosecutor. And that requires presence. It cannot be done in any other way. Unless, of course, the prosecutor will allow a video conference, and if that is allowed under the rules, I would not know, but certainly he must appear and swear to the allegations, to the truth of his counter affidavit, if he chooses to file one. Because, Pinky, he has the option of not filing a counter affidavit.
And not filing a counter affidavit would render what?
Well, not filing a counter affidavit would allow the prosecutor to assess the case on the basis alone of the evidence presented by the PNP and the NBI. That would be because there is no controversy on the part of the respondent. So if the prosecutor feels that there is a probable cause, he will file the corresponding information and case against Bantag.
Right, but would it be, Senator, would it be wise for the camp of any respondent not to submit a counter affidavit? Because doing that, not doing that rather, would basically remove or disallow you from defending yourself. Isn't that true?
There are cases where the respondent would choose not to file a counter affidavit because either they feel that the evidence of the prosecution is weak, and filing a counter affidavit will just expose their defenses when the case is filed in court.
I see.
So that is Bantag's call whether or not to file a counter affidavit. The consequence is that the prosecutor will now determine whether or not, on the basis of the evidence presented by the NBI and the PNP, a probable cause is established.
Yeah.
If there is probable cause, the risk and therefore the possibility of filing the case in court becomes a conclusion
and
that.
Right. You mentioned, Senator, probable cause. It's important to note that because unlike what is supposed to happen when a case is filed in court and a verdict is about to be given, that is supposed to be proof beyond reasonable doubt. Ibang-iba po kasi yung probable cause sa prosecutor's office bago po magsampa ng kaso sa RTC. So, this basically means, no, Senator, may makita lang silang konting posibleng ebidensya, pwede na po ito kasuhan sa korte.
Tama po yan. The existence of a probable cause simply means that a reasonable mind will conclude that the crime was probably committed, and therefore the court should hear the testimony and evidence of the prosecution and the defense of the accused. So that is the situation.
So ito nga mga idol, pakinggan po natin yung magiging opinion dito ni Senator Drilon kaugnay nga po dito sa kasong ayan is i-final laban kay General Bantag.
Bantag et al. Before the prosecutor's office. What are your thoughts on the evidence, on the statements made, on the diagram that was shown that eventually points, although admittedly by the Justice Department, no direct evidence kay Gerald Bantag, sir?
That's correct, Pinky. There is no direct evidence. And therefore, the evidence is circumstantial. That's one. Number two, the evidence is principally verbal, oral testimony. I must confess, I haven't seen the totality of the evidence, but from the newspaper reports, from the assertions of the Department of Justice.
So yung sinasabi dito ni Senator Drilon ay contradict naman sa binitawan nitong SOJ Remulla na sinasabi niya ay the totality of the evidence laban kay General Bantag, yung kanilang basihan kung bakit kinasuhan ng double murder itong si General Bantag, sapagkat ayon naman kay Senator Drilon ay walang totality na evidence na nagtuturo or direct na nagtuturo, kahit yung diagram umano na pinakita or gawa ng NBI or PNP ba or si Justice Secretary Drilon, Justice Secretary Boying Remulla ba yung gumawa ng diagram na yon, ay hindi pala yon basihan para sa pagkaso dito kay General Bantag.
Of the prosecutors themselves or the investigators themselves, these are circumstantial evidence. I note the diagram that you said, that is not evidence. That is only trying to inform the public of the persons involved. Now, having said that,
Yan, ito palang sinasabi ni Senator Drilon. Ito palang sinasabi nila na person involved ay hindi rin pala itong mabasihan bilang ebidensya sa pagdiin dito kay General Bantag sa kasong pagpatay kay First Lapid. Itong diagram na ito, hindi rin pala ito mabasihan na tawag.
The case for the prosecution is based on verbal and oral testimony and circumstantial evidence. We should emphasize that the possibility of retraction is always there, because you'll never know what will, if these people will retract. Any one of the witnesses can retract, and that weakens theoretically the prosecution's case. Therefore, the prosecutor should look for corroborative evidence, meaning the evidence that will corroborate the oral testimony. And with this, this will strengthen the case. And should a retraction take place, the same can be discarded by the court because these are the circumstantial evidence is supported by corroborative evidence.
Dito na unang sinabi na ni General Gerald Bantag na kapag nasa pwesto pa bilang Secretary of Justice itong si Remulla ay hindi umano ito susuko at magsusurrender sa mga kapulisan kahit na mayroon na siyang warrant of arrest. So, isa pa nga dito mga idol, yung tinanong ni Pinky Wave dito kay Senator Drilon, paano na kung may warrant of arrest na si General Bantag? Kasi una niyang sinabi na kapag nasa pwesto pa rin itong si SOJ Remulla ay hindi ito susuko kahit mayroon na siyang warrant of arrest.
For example, he doesn't surrender if a case is filed in court and an arrest warrant is issued.
Well, Pinky, cardinal rule in evidence, flight is evidence of guilt. If he doesn't surrender, then that will be taken as evidence against him. Because I would repeat, a principle in evidence is that flight can be taken as evidence of guilt. So that is his own lookout. the duty of the prosecution and the law enforcement is to arrest him once and if a case is filed in court.
I understand that. That's all often been used, no, Senator. Yung flight is an indication of guilt. But if you talk to the other side, who would feel that I'm not going to get a fair trial here, that flight could that flight serving as guilt, could that be interpreted in another way?
I don't know. No, that is the principal rule. It can be interpreted in another way if he says, "I have not been properly served," or "I am not hiding." I'm not saying that there is no defense. What I'm just saying is that that can be taken as evidence of guilt, and
In
of
general.
course, the contrary evidence can be shown that there is no flight.
Malinaw mga idol no, sa sinabi ni Senator Drilon na kapag may warrant of arrest na ito, si Gen.Bantag, kailangan niya na sumuko sa ating mga kapulisan para hindi na lumala ang sitwasyon at hindi na umano gamitin sa kanya itong ebidensya, yung pagiging hindi niya pagsuko sa ating mga kapulisan kapag mayroon na siyang warrant of arrest. So mainam umano na magsuko na lang siya kapag may warrant of arrest na siya, ayon kay Senator Drilon. So maganda, at least may natutunan po tayo sa mga sinabi ni Senator Drilon na dati ring Department of Justice Secretary. So yun po yung ating update mga idol. Sana ay nalinawan po tayo sa ilang katanungan po ng ating mga kababayan na tinatanong kaugnay po dito sa naging kaso ni General Bantag. So for more update, huwag kalimutan i-subscribe yung ating channel para sa tuloy-tuloy po na pag-update, and kukunin din po natin yung ilang opinion ng ating kababayan, lalo na itong may alam pagdating sa ating batas. Maraming salamat and God bless everyone.